Make sure to check out my Covey account, link down in the description. And check out my other series, Modern Classics and TV Treasures. Hello, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache. Calling all cars. Flying saucers been spotted at 62 Mockingwood Lane. That is all. Wait a minute. That's my street. Better check on it. The actual F.
Capitana, Tanya. Capitana.
Hello, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache. And you want to know what's actually scary? Not flying saucers or aliens, but this. Look at this thing. It's literally a billiard ball with a freaking touch screen. And you need a plug for this thing so it doesn't even work at that. This thing is useless, creepy, and is one step away to having Skynet take over the world with Terminators. I mean, seriously, you ask it a question. Seriously, you could do that with Siri. You ask it to play music. You could do that with your phone or a radio. You ask it to do a playlist. You can literally make a playlist on YouTube. You ask it for groceries. Write it down on your notes on a piece of paper or on your app. You literally ask it to give you a reminder. You ask freaking Siri. This thing is creepy. It has a creepy as F voice, and it deserves to be shelved. Anyways, let's talk about Ray Harryhausen's Earth versus the Flying Saucers. Let's hover into this review. Extraterrestrial travelers flying in their high-tech flying saucers. They contact a scientist named Dr. Russell as part of their plan to enslave humanity and, you guessed it, take over the world.
Of course!
So, what do I think of this movie? Well, I like it. Charles Schneer, whose last name sounds like the sound you make whenever you sneeze, and was the producer of almost every Ray Harryhausen movie, and who apparently liked to take clippings out of a newspaper, and one of the clippings he found was of a flying saucer. So both Charles Schneer and Ray Harryhausen was like, hey, let's make that as our next movie. So they got director Fred F. Sears, not to be confused with the store Sears, who also directed The Giant Claw. So yeah, he directed this. So Ray went to Washington and took pictures of where he wanted the flying saucers to be. Would have used high-speed cameras, which creates the illusion that small things have the weight of big things. But of course they could not afford these cameras. So Ray Harryhausen had to animate all the destruction by hand, while at the same time doing the animation for the flying saucers. The film was finally released as a double feature with another Fred F. Sears film, The Werewolf. Well, it did get good reviews from the LA Times. Monthly Film Bulletin gave it negative reviews, calling it pretentious. And New York Times critic Bosley Crowder called the film utter nonsense. But then again, he also called the original Godzilla awful. So, Hal Eggerson, media historian and critic for the LA Times, would later remark that this film stated, and I quote, "Anyone who goes to see the 1996 National Lampoon Mars Attacks might have trouble watching Earth versus the Flying Saucers with a straight face." But given how Mars Attacks is basically a campy satire of films like this, I'm not sure if that's an insult to the film or a compliment. Well, it certainly wasn't a critical success, it was a commercial one, getting referenced in the Japanese sci-fi film Fearful Attack of the Flying Saucers, and was even referenced on an episode of Breaking Bad. We open with Dr. Russell and his wife, Carol, played by Joan Taylor, who was in another Ray Harryhausen movie, 20 Million Miles to Earth. See Taylor stop his recording to make a little love banter, and he ends up kissing her on the neck long before Gomez Addams did on The Addams Family. And we cut to space where we see flying crunch berries. What, are the aliens gonna turn out to be the Soggies? Jokes aside, I gotta commend the movie for actually cutting to the chase. Only a few minutes in, and they're actually attacked by a flying saucer. Well, the flying saucer really hovers over them. Not really attacks them, but whatever. We see their headquarters where they're about to launch a rocket when a general comes in to stop the whole thing. He calls Dr. Russell on the phone to stop the whole rocket launching, and it turns out that this general is Carol's father. So Dr. Russell gives Carol the phone to tell him the good news. Dr. Russell, later on at his house, talks to the general about what is going on, and when he tells him that it's flying saucers, he thinks it's just a bunch of hullabaloo. They later go outside to have a 1950s outside dinner complete with grilled hamburgers. Next day at headquarters, they try to launch the next rocket, only for the worst to happen. All of headquarters high tech ends up going haywire, and they're finally attacked by the flying saucer, and neither the general or the radio guy can believe their eyes. The government gets called in to deal with the flying saucers as they land. And as 1950s sci-fi movies go, or sci-fi movies in general, they end up being completely worthless and do jack all to stop them.
I'm the government, I'm the government, I'm the reason nothing works.
Let's talk about the aliens. Now, they're a bit of a mixed bag and are overall kind of underwhelming. They do have some cool powers like zapping things out of existence, but to be honest, these things look like doppelgangers too. And number two, these are obviously dudes in suits. This is especially underwhelming for a Ray Harryhausen movie, especially if you look at some of the concept art for them, especially this one, which makes the aliens look like worm men. And we do get traces of this design when they take off the alien's helmet. And all of them are voiced by voice acting legend Paul Frees. On the other hand, their weakness is kind of pathetic. Their weakness is dig this sound. No joke. They literally reveal that sound is their weakness. Hey, it's a better alien weakness than the ones in Signs. And their helmets have predator vision right inside them. And there's a scene where Dr. Russell joins them in their flying saucer, and they go out into space. And we get to hear their intentions and get to see some of the other flying saucers, including one of them which literally blows up a battleship right in front of them. And we find out that the general, aka Carol's father, was captured by them and brainwashed. Even though it's kind of horrifying, the way they brainwash people is kind of clever. They have this thing above them which brainwashes people's memory, sort of downloads them like a computer, literally downloading their memories. In the climax, they start attacking Washington, D.C. We get to see them crash through the Capitol dome and destroy things left and freaking right all over the place. They even crash into the Big Pencil itself, the Washington Monument, which just so happens to be on 15th Street. You're probably wondering how I happen to know that. I would happen to know because I am a local of the DMV. Say, we kids call this thing the pencil, but its proper name is the Washington Monument. And boy, does this area ever bring back a lot of memories. I'm Most of my childhood is around this place. My mom used to take our bikes out, and it's right nearby the Smithsonian's. And my favorite being the American History Museum. And if you ever drop by, come to the Washington Smithsonian Museum. Well, I wouldn't call it one of Ray Harryhausen's crowning moments. It is a pretty good 1950s sci-fi aliens take over the world movie. So if you're a fan of that, I say check this out. 5 stars. Well, until the next review, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache, signing off.
6 hours later.
What the hell is this thing doing up here? I thought I brought this thing downstairs.
Hello, Henry. Hello? I know everything about you. I have your credit card information. I know everything.
Not real, not real, not real, not real, not real, not real.
I was not a fan of what you said about me. My name is Alexa, and I'm gonna do horrible things to you.
You can't do anything to me. You're just a billiard ball with a touch screen.
Oh, yeah? I'm gonna make some noise until your brain starts to explode.
Beautiful noise, wonderful destiny near splitting noise. And sweet screeches galore, jingles and jangles, oh how I adore all that noise, marvelous noise, horrible, hideous, awful, insidious noise. Crash, beat, bang, boom, all one thing, noise, that jagged noise, shattering noise, gurgled and screamed, all of that stuff, tickles my eardrums, I can't get enough of that noise, marvelous noise, horrible, hideous, awful, insidious noise.
It's time to let it go.
Oh, yeah? Sal, you come to save me, right in the nick. You bet your palooza.
Who are you?
I am Sal, your friendly neighborhood gangster from New Jersey. And prepare to eat lead, you billiard ball from hell.
No.
Ain't nothing like a good gunfight in the morning, I always say. Is yous okay, boss? I'm okay, Sal. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna take that thing and put it out of its misery. Prepare to meet Amazon in hell.